Hello, everyone, and welcome to my weekly Meltdown coverage of Survivor 42. I'm Allison, this is Tyler and Beth and Andrew. Hello, everyone. I think tonight's episode really touched on something close to Tyler's heart. I really feel like Tyler and Jonathan became one in the beginning of this episode with everything that Tyler has to deal with me, Beth, me. Really, it's probably me, but Beth sometimes too. I can't carry it all.
It's definitely. Anytime like the chat is about like womanly stuff, I don't want to go into like details.
Boobies.
Like any of that stuff. I'm like,
Andrew got excited.
My face is just like this the entire.
Yes, Allison made this in pic collage. Tyler's favorite thing.
Yes, that is. That also gives me this reaction.
No. That is not your reaction to pic collage. Your reaction to pic collage is.
your reaction to pic collage is. She said,
I'm like, I just finished my graphic design degree last year, and people do pic collage for free.
Well, listen,
but what do I know?
You know what? I'm just going to stop the abuse that I'm taking real quick because I worked like a whole 10 minutes on that. Anyway, Andrew.
For 10 minutes.
Andrew.
Right.
Listen, you've been away for a while. Before we get in deep with this episode, how are you feeling about season 42 so far?
Meh.
Eh?
Yeah, there's some good moments, right? And what intrigued me the most about tonight's episode was I love this. We introduced a lot of new twists, but this season didn't see them. So I'm loving like the whole triple idol situation, how he considered playing that, and I hope we can get into that in a little bit of detail a little later about how he almost at one point in time was like, maybe I shouldn't say my phrase. And I think there's positives and negatives to both there. The last tribal was good. To me, there's some really last season, we said there was some really good gameplay, but not people we loved. I feel like this season, there's a lot of people we love, but not so great of actual gameplay and game.
Oh, wow. No. Is he like totally frozen? Like,
yeah, I also
this is the greatest thing.
I want to ask him to.
I just said a really good statement and then I froze.
Oh, dang.
So what I was saying is last season, we talked about last season, there was some really great moments and some really great gameplay, but not a lot of people that we were just loving and rooting for. This season, I feel like there's a lot of people we're loving and rooting for character-wise, but there's not a lot of really great gameplay, right?
So
so that's kind of how I feel.
I think the difference is not even just about gameplay, because I think that there has been gameplay. I think that it's more that everybody is playing a game, so it's hard to pinpoint what the specific strategy of the episode is when everybody is playing, versus last season it was like, let's only look at Shan and Ricard for like most of the season, what I mean? And so we were comparing gameplay, and then we were like, oh wow, and Liana, let's bring her in on that. And then they all fell apart at the merge, and it was like, okay, who are we rooting for now? Xander, who's not doing anything strategically, like
Heather.
Heather, who is she? The winner didn't even also have an, like, you know what I mean? So there's much more love with all of the different people, like you're saying, which helps us to get to know them and like them and root for them. But with that, we're not getting a clear cut of who is necessarily playing, which is why I can't wait to talk a little bit about exactly what you're bringing up, Andrew, about Mike and his decision as to whether or not to say his phrase and get his idol activated. But I also can't wait to talk about Chanel's vote on Mike at Tribal Council, because I have some big gaming theories as to why she did that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's not like big flashy moves, and that's what I think is kind of interesting about this season so far.
I will say, Andrew, just to like piggyback off of like what you just said. Piggyback. A good piggyback, if you will. I agree with you, Andrew. Like, of course, like the editing was very like lopsided.
Can you say that again?
I agree with you, Andrew.
Oh, my ears are burning.
The editing was very lopsided last season compared to this one, but I don't feel like we have like somebody who's playing like a really baller game, right? Like somebody who is like really taking the season by storm. And because of that, like I feel like the editing is very like equal across the board. I do find that the cast overall is a lot more likable than last season. There's a lot more people I'm rooting for to make it to the end. Yeah, and I also feel like because we know the twists already, because they were introduced last season, gives us, the viewers, a little bit more context, like a little more understanding for what's going on. Where like last season, I was like, what the hell is happening? I need like a piece of paper like telling me like all the extra votes and idols and advantages and twists and who can't vote this tribal, like all of this stuff. And I just have a much clearer picture of the advantages, the story, the characters, like everything. So I'm really enjoying the season, and it's just full of a lot of like positive stories and positive people. Like even Romeo tonight, we got a little backstory from him, a little body positivity segment from Lydia. Just like I love these little sprinkles of like personal touches. Like we're getting to know every one of these characters, even if they don't really contribute like too much to the story in the episode.
So I also have to say, though, I think Survivor is most interesting when you think about the tribes being equal without a huge standout person. And then when merge comes, it all goes to hell. And that's when somebody really thrives. When you have somebody who's a standout person from the beginning to the end, that's not exciting to watch. That doesn't make for good merge play gameplay. And of course, there's been really interesting seasons where there have been other things. But I agree with, this is a great comment from Joseph Boza. So far, after 5 episodes, it's hard for me to pick a winner. I agree. I think that that's actually what makes this season so interesting is, even though I think quite a few of us think, oh, Marianne could potentially win this and that kind of thing, there's nothing in terms of like gameplay yet that determines that she's going to be the winner. It's just purely because we're looking at like editing and how she's being featured and that kind of thing. But when you look at the gameplay, like I can't wait for whenever this merge is going to happen, because what are the dynamics going to be? Yeah. Are they really going to be 3 tribes strong? And if so, it's a pretty equal playing field between in terms of numbers for each tribe.
Well, Tori made it clear tonight that it wasn't going to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's like kind of where I'm thinking that the merge is going to head is the numbers. Like if you just look at the numbers and look at the colors like of the tribes like going into the merge, it's pretty even in terms of like which tribe could take it all the way if they stick together. The problem with the blue tribe is though, there was never any loyalty. There will never be any loyalty. I mean, Tori is like 2 feet away from Roxroy being like, no, you don't have a good social game, like to the camera, which I loved from her tonight. Like I love like
that.
Lean into being the villain this season, Tori. That's what I want from you, and that's what we got tonight. So Tori had a good episode in my book tonight. Yeah, I just think like that blue tribe is like really in trouble, and Drea, I'm glad that she's picking up all these advantages, getting Survivor rich, because I feel like she's gonna need it to have any kind of sway or power headed into the merge. This blue tribe is in trouble.
Real quick,
my comment of the night was from Marianne when she was talking about her meat shield. And she was like, why do you have to be such a good meat shield, right? Like she's weighing this, though. You're making me mad versus what is good for my game at this point in time. And that was really, really cool. She's this crazy, sometimes annoying, all the time annoying, but still lovable at the same time character. But she really does know the game. And that's what's so dynamic of her.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat really quick. Linda Maxwell, Matt Henning, Juan Washington Cruz, Adrian Celeste is joining us, Joseph Boza, Heather Jean, everyone, welcome. I just want to say, Adrian, you almost gave me a heart attack because I thought you said, I heard that Chanel voted for Mike in case either Daniel or both her and Daniel plays the STD and Mike could be the contingency plan. All I saw was the STD. I didn't see the I. I apologize. I almost tinkled, but yes. So
could you imagine you were like, I'm voting for you just in case there's an STD going around camp.
I think there's an STD in this camp. I smell something and nobody's owning up to it.
Fishy.
Something's fishy.
To be fair on that comment, it would have only worked if one of them played the shot in the dark and they didn't split the vote, because they're pulling from the same pool. So there's only one safe in there. So even if both of them grab it, there's no way they could both pull safe.
So let's get into this, because
Yeah,
I
let's
think
do
that's
the tribal
exactly
first.
why she voted for Mike, was just in case Daniel used his shot in the dark, which then means that there wouldn't be another vote on her. She was splitting it to say, okay, if he uses his shot in the dark and I believe that everyone's going to vote for him, if somebody were to split it between Daniel and myself, which means one vote goes on to me, I would at least tie it up. Mike, Chanel each have one if he is successful in his shot in the dark, in which case it'd be a tie vote. They'd have to go between Mike and Chanel, in which case she can then try to work her magic and say, y'all, he can't play his idol now. Now's the time. Get him out. That kind of thing.
That's a really good point, especially because like he activated his idol tonight, and
they all know it.
Right. Well, but they do know it because like he's like very clearly talking like in the Green Tribe about I'm not going to activate it. I'm going to wait till the merge. So like it's very much so like everybody knows that this is a thing. Everybody knows that he like forced that awkward phrase out of his mouth during the challenge and everything. So they know that he has it. So
and if they're going to talk about loyalty and telling the truth, that's something that she can easily, I think, if she's much savvier than Mike is when it comes to words and such, I think that she could say, hey, I know that there's some trust lost here with you guys and me, and I understand that, but let's not let this slide. He said
that's a really good point. I hadn't even thought about that, Beth, but really good.
So I want to get deeper into that, right? That idol, but I want to go back to the tribal for just 2 seconds, because I feel like we're talking about that in a way, but we're forgetting one aspect. Is what Beth is saying is absolutely right, and that was her plan. But there's also no repercussion, because she can so easily blame that on Daniel, and there's no way to switch that, right? There's nobody there to back that up. So if there is no lose in that, they still might not trust it completely, but it's so easy to just blame it on Daniel and that not. So that's why after it happened, I was like, she can't take the blame for that, even if she was the one to commit it.
Yeah,
definitely,
totally. Let's see. So another thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the twist of it all with Mike is the Orange Tribe. We saw at the very beginning of this episode that there's some tiffs going on at camp. Maybe John could have been swinging the machete maybe a little farther away from Marianne, but maybe Marianne didn't have to have as big of a reaction. I think this is a classic issue in Survivor when your tribe is winning too much and you just get a little
tribal.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're like if you are like spending so long and so hungry, just like staying around the same people for so long, like you have like that's why we see like fights in the Big Brother house all the time. Like there's just literally nothing else to do but get annoyed with each other, and no place to really like go off on your own except for in the water to go spearfishing. But I wouldn't read too much into this in terms of like a negative edit for Marianne. Andrew, I said at the premiere of the season that I feel pretty strongly that Marianne is the winner based on her premiere edit episode, and I still feel that way 5 episodes in, but I see some like a negative editing clouds over her head, but I'm not too worried yet is what I'm saying.
So I wrote a lot of things in about this interaction between Jonathan and Marianne. And I want to the meat shield I kind of had already mentioned, right? Before I get into more of a serious talk, my other funny comment was, how big of a workspace does Marianne have? Because she kept saying, "This is my workspace. Okay. You're in my workspace. This is my workspace," right? Like, how is the whole camp her workspace? I need a defining border of this workspace that exists. But the most dynamic part of this for me, and I would love all of your opinions on this, is the comment from Jonathan that he says, I'm a 6'5" man, and if I even give any sort of anything, I automatically am painted the villain. right? And we're seeing this coming from a non-POC person in a season where we've always talked about these judgments and these things that happen from POCs. To have a white man saying, I'm assuming he's white. To me, he comes off as white. He might have a little something in there. But for him to say, I can't really express my feelings because that, and when he said that, it really wasn't even acting like he was painting it from the tribe standpoint. It was almost like he was saying it from how I'll be viewed in the season as a whole. And he's taking America and the viewers into consideration with that. And the depth of that comment and the social realization of that comment said a lot about him and his character. And I would love opinions on that.
Can I go first on this? Okay, so we're 42 seasons into this show, right? Like, I think that like the only true social experiments of these reality shows are Survivor Borneo, are the Real World New York. You know, like anything after those seasons of those shows, people are aware of the perception of their character on television and how they can kind of self-produce themselves a little bit in one direction or another. I just wish that I'm glad that Jonathan is having this self-awareness of how he's going to come off to America and stuff like that. But he could have taken it one step further and taken Marianne aside and say, like, listen, like, I don't want to come off to you or to anybody else. Leave that be like people in the camp or America, just leave that vague and say like, listen, I don't want to come across this way. This is my perception of how things went. And I just want to have a conversation with you where both of us aren't like heated in the moment because I don't ever want to come off as intimidating or threatening to you. But we didn't get that extra step from him. We just got like, oh, I'm frustrated because I'm this big, strong man. That's I just wish that he could have taken it a little bit farther. But that self-awareness was at least there, which we don't really see too often for these like alpha bro types. So I don't know.
So in a direct response to that, Tyler, I agree, but I don't, because of the comments that have previously happened. You've had Tori. What was that comment she made about him 3 weeks ago or something? Did she call him a Hercules or
something like that?
Something of that nature.
Goliath,
so I understand big, strong man, but now he's being told to his face in the game that that's the perception that he has, right? So it's not so much him saying that as or feeling that or acting like that as it is he's been told that in season that this is the perception that he currently has also. So I don't think that was so much him saying I'm a big strong man as it was, look, this is how I can see I'm being perceived. I don't want to add fuel to that fire. Could the conversation with Marianne have happened? I don't know, because Marianne was pretty on it too, and I don't know if that would have gone anywhere good. But that comment is, I would agree with more of what you were saying if we hadn't had more people directly say that to him already this season.
Yeah, and it's going to be like twofold in the sense that like it's not just Jonathan in terms of like a white person cast on Survivor or like a strong person cast on Survivor dealing with their perception. You know, if I were to go on Survivor, people would think I'm this like nerdy strategist, even though I'm this just like awkward artist. You know what I mean? If Allison goes on the show with her Southern accent, like that would give like an impression, like a first impression as well. That's hard to overcome if she wanted to be perceived differently. You know what I mean? It's like Jonathan just has to embrace that. Like, oh, no matter who you are in Survivor, perception is going to be.
The whole point of any of these shows is having self-awareness enough to be able to navigate how you are going to come across and then also be able to manipulate that in a way that benefits you.
Yeah.
And the way that, like, let's take Mike as another example of a guy who is arguably big and strong. Now, is he the Goliath of the season like Jonathan? No. But this is somebody who, upon first thought, you think, okay, firefighter from New Jersey, big tough guy, blah, 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 blah. And he's done nothing but show us that he's also a huge teddy bear. And if Jonathan wanted to come across as not just the big, strong guy that you have to cater to, he has to know that that's how he's going to come across, right? he has to be able to figure out, how do I leverage this in a way that maybe there's something that's unexpected as well. So yeah, of course, I'm a big, strong guy, but also like I genuinely care about, something that is maybe quote unquote more feminine in nature, like, or something, or like I'm more in touch with my emotions about these kind of things. Something that is slightly unexpected that would take people's initial perceptions and then make them question them. Oh, maybe he's not just purely this person. So therefore I should listen to him. Maybe I should give him more leverage in the game. Those kind of things that happen, not necessarily on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level as well. Now, I also want to say I missed the first 10 minutes of this episode. I missed this whole Tory thing, and I've missed this whole argument. So I really can't speak to what happened. But
Allison, what do you think? Oh, sorry, Beth. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I do think though that a big portion of any of these shows is, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How do I overcompensate for my weaknesses? And how do I use my strengths in a way that is unexpected for other people, so they want to get to know me and put some trust in me?
I would go on to say real quick, and then I'll turn it to Allison. Tyler, I would say that even the whole "I'm a big, strong man" wasn't shown as much in that moment as it was in the challenge, with his visible frustration of the not being able to do anything because the puzzle was completely being screwed up in the middle in front of his eyes. I would say that
calling him out on it too.
I would say
bringing attention to that.
Yeah, for sure. But I would say that was more of the, man, if this was just me, I could do it, than it was in the moment with Marianne, right?
Yeah. And I also want to say, like, I've been singing Jonathan's praises like all season long on this show. I think that he is like easily the best version of like the alpha bro that we've had since Aussie 1.0. And I'm rooting to see him succeed in this game, because I think he has what it takes to just be like a really great player. I just hope he's not the merge boot, because he is a nice, delicious, meaty target once the merge hits, and even Marianne is aware of that.
I know you meant to say Jack from Big Brother was the last alpha male we had that was likable.
Allison, what do you think about the whole Jonathan Marianne fiasco?
I mean, do you know how many times I've been yelled at by grown-ass men, and I'm teeny tiny? I mean, what the hell? Whatever. Yell at me.
Like,
I don't care.
Story of my life.
Yeah, like, that's just another day in the wild. But here's the thing. I'm not going to vote out Jonathan because he gets angry with Marianne, and I'm not going to vote out Marianne because she's coming off annoying one day. I mean, they had a difference of opinion on a situation. Yeah, he could have hacked her foot off, but I mean, she kind of just walked up and stopped and watched him do it with her foot there. I mean, I don't know who would really been in the wrong, but yeah, I mean, it's been, look, the attention to him being like a Thor, Goliath, Superman was there the minute he walked onto the beach. I mean, it didn't have anything to do with anyone saying it. I mean, it's just there. And that's the elephant in the room that he has to address everywhere he goes. And I mean, I'm not thinking, I guess because I'm not thinking about a person's size, because I'm 4'11", 100 pounds, and don't underestimate me and what I can do. You know, I don't look at someone's size and stature, the color of their skin or their hair or and immediately come to a conclusion of what, you know, because they had a bad day, what kind of threat they are in the game. I mean, yeah. I think he could have said whatever he felt in that moment, and I believe it would have been a positive resolution in the end. I thought he kind of handled it well. They did go off. They did talk about it. And he even said, listen, I love you to death, but I'm leaving the conversation. And she was like, okay. Marianne's the one who got paranoid when he went walking off with the other girl. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not, you know, you can't really
say the other girl, because Lindsay has no edit this season.
Literally cannot remember who
she's the next Erica.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Chelsea eyebrows got more play than she did. But I don't know if I'm making any sense. I don't think about stuff like that, I guess. That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not in that mindset. So I don't know if I'm the right person to ask because I get yelled at all the time. Okay.
So
Not
I do
by
have
me.
two other little things I want to talk about. One of them is this season related, and one of them is kind of the future of Survivor related. This season related, I just want to throw out my dark horse pick.
Okay.
Watch out for Lydia.
She was my first pick in the draft.
Watch out for Lydia. The way that she was kind of in this position last time they went to Tribal, and where it was possibly her, and then you see this shift happen where someone saves her and almost Heidi becomes her meat shield, I think, a little bit. And now they ran this vote. Lydia could be in a pretty interesting position.
In the same exact way, watch Romeo. Romeo,
100%.
his exact same position that she's in, basically, I feel like, in that he is pulling the strings, but I don't think he's going to be the perceived threat. Like, they're going to look at Drea before they look at him. You know what I mean?
My only fear with Romeo is twofold. One, the powers of Drea, him being a casualty of that. And two, he's already shown in his confessionals that he does have this little mouth and this little attitude. And can he keep that in control through the end of the game?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I agree. Position-wise, they're in the same level. But I want to kind of flip gears a little bit because we both have, everybody's kind of mentioned something tonight that I think is interesting. They said that Survivor 41, we had all winners at 40. It was this new era, right? It was this new, did I freeze again?
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Now you have.
Well, you know,
That is funny.
Probst always comes every
back.
season. It's a new era. It's a new dawn. It's a new twist. We've never seen this before. The only thing that we just getting old with this, Jeff, is your hair. Get a haircut. Okay, go ahead, Andrew.
So, but what's interesting about that is, since it is a new era and they said they don't want many as returnees from the old, do we see them casting people as certain people? You mentioned Jonathan as Ozzy. I don't think you can look at Mike and not think Tony, right? Accent firefighter. He hasn't built the Spy Shack yet. But do we see in this cast, and even in the last cast, people that they're like, okay, if we're going to start this new era, who's going to fill that Ozzy shoe? Who's going to fill that Tony shoe? Is that something that they've thought about? Or is this just random chance that there's resemblances happening?
It's like they have prototypes now.
We have 42 seasons to show that. Here's the thing. When it first started off, it was literally a social experiment. They don't give a shit about the social experiment portion anymore. They don't care. Oh, let's take somebody who is truly unique and different. It's the same with Big Brother. You're going to go for the archetypes that have proven to be entertaining from people in the past. But the problem is when you cast for archetype and you don't cast for the person who they are in front of you, you will always have this sense of comparison. Until you have somebody who is truly different in their own regard. And that's going to be really hard to replicate after 40 some seasons.
I will say, I think there are new archetypes emerging just because of the new diversity quota that has been put in place for Big Brother and Survivor. Like we had the archetypes for white people, basically. But like we're getting like a lot of different personalities of people of color that we really haven't seen on the show. Like Derek X in Big Brother 23 was a great example of like a new type of player that we hadn't really seen before. And I feel like Shan and Ricard both kind of fit like a new type of character, type of archetype that we hadn't seen any for, like a devious pastor, right? Like that's really fun to watch and to root for or root against. And so I think that they're still playing around with discovering new types of players within people of color specifically.
I think that's a really great point too.
Okay,
we
so
let's questions in the chat.
Yeah. I was gonna say we have some really good questions here. So I want to highlight Aaron's first question.
Yep.
So does Omar still not have a vote at the merge? That'll be really bad for Orange, I think. I forgot about that.
He won't have a vote the next time he goes to vote. So if that's in the merge, he won't have his vote there. The benefit for that is that nobody knows at this point that he doesn't have one. The only person who would know is Chanel. and Chanel's likely going to have to jump ship from Green anyway. So does she use this as a leverage of, hey, or do they immediately go after each other? Now, she's smart enough to know, he doesn't have a vote right now because they haven't gone to tribal since that journey. So it would behoove her to try to get in good with Omar, and he will probably also want to build that bridge back with her.
I feel like the merge will kind of break down with like the Orange tribe being very strong together, very united. I could even see Marianne using her extra vote to help out Omar's lack of vote to get them there. And I could see Omar being a smart enough of a player to realize that like Chanel is the one that knows I don't have a vote. So we're going to target her. Green Tribe is going to be totally fine with Chanel being the target. Now that Daniel's gone, they don't trust her at all. Like the vote was between her or him tonight. And Blue Tribe is so scattered that I feel like they're just going to listen to like, what's the majority? Okay, it's not me. Okay, fine. We'll vote that way. Sure. So I really could see Chanel being the merge boot.
But the thing about that could change all of that is I don't think it's a merge. I think it's a swap is what I got from the promo.
Well, it's a 2-hour episode next week.
I think it's the Hourglass episode next week.
What is the Hourglass episode?
So last season in season 41, they did the fake merge where they had the randomly decided 2 tribes for the reward challenge. And with one person who was the odd person out who couldn't participate. They were then exiled to Exile Island, which was Erica. And she got the opportunity to hit the Hourglass to basically flip whoever actually won the challenge and had been safe and got the merge feast. They actually were up for elimination, and the tribe that had lost and didn't get it was actually safe after she hit the Hourglass. It also meant that she was going to be safe. Otherwise, she would have been up for elimination when she came back. So I think what we're getting is a similar fake merge kind of Hourglass situation, because that was a 2-hour episode last time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and I'm glad that it is a 2. If it is a merge, like even if we have to deal with the Hourglass nonsense, which I was very adamantly against last season, I'm glad that we're getting 2 hours to really focus on like the dynamics of the merge, because this game right now is so wide open, you guys. Like I could see this shaking out in any way, shape, or form. So I'm glad that we are getting like this extended time to really understand like the pulse of like where everybody
I can't help but smile, Tyler, because tonight at dinner you were like, oh, this season I'm just like so not into it at all, and you have done nothing but like completely like not stop talking about
Well, wait a minute here.
Hold on, before we get into this, it wasn't a 2-hour last time. It was a 2-part. It ended with her with the Hourglass on the island. The episode ended there.
Yeah, and then there was all that feedback where we were like, that should have been a 2-hour episode. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Allison,
call me out. Go ahead.
What is your? Are you being fake? Are you being a fakey?
I am catering to the audience that's listening to us. If they really hated the season, they probably would not be listening to podcast coverage of the season. So
that's not true. I podcast for Drag Race, and all we do is shit on the show for an hour each week.
Do we not end up shitting on Big Brother the second half of the season every year?
Wait,
gigantic
I don't know what
dumps.
you're I don't know what you're talking about.
Did we not shit on the entire Big Brother All Stars 2 season from the 3rd episode?
Yeah.
Listen, Cody was such an entertaining. I loved Derek pre-gaming for Cody, and Cody winning was just like such a surprise to everybody. Like it was so entertaining to watch the whole time.
If we could have had live feeds before the season started, it would have been better than the live feeds once the season started.
Yeah. Matt's like, Tyler, fake sounds legit. Thank you.
I'm just messing. He's not fake. Isn't the word I was really thinking of? But
please call me out.
What
I
was the
deserve
word you
that.
were really thinking of? Because you said fake wasn't, so there had to have been a word.
I said I was going to be Southern and go, are you being ornery? Because listen, my family was in town. My brother and my sister-in-law, my niece and nephew were in town this weekend, and apparently I abuse the word ornery, and I don't even pronounce it right. It's ornery, and I think that's stupid. So I say ornery because it sounds better.
I feel like it's a grandma thing, like that word.
It is. It's
the whole R that's in the word.
ornery. Listen, my Blake, who's been on this show, who's got to come, he wants to come back for Big Brother this season, and I'm all for it. He's 14. Well, there was a whole bunch of stuff that went down this weekend, but he has this dry sense of humor. And Jacob was messing with me. I'm like, "Are you being serious right now? What was it?" And Blake just leans in and goes, "Are you being ornery?" And it was just the time, and it was just so funny because I hadn't said it yet. And he's like, "You're the only person on the planet, Aunt Allison, that I know that says the word ornery." He goes, "So I wouldn't be surprised if I get a shirt in the mail that says ornery on it."
I hope you wear it on the show.
My grandmother calls me ornery all the time. Ornery. She calls me whatever that word, however you pronounce it. She calls me that all the time.
Ornery
is literally spelled O-R.
Well, my grandmother calls it ornery as well. So I don't know.
There's an R.
Stop being ornery.
So this just in, potatoes have skin. I have skin. Are we all potatoes?
Yes.
The idols have been officially activated. So going into the merge next week, if it is a merge next week, all 3 idols are activated. So we have a lot of different advantages, extra votes, idols that could be played and stuff. So I'm excited to see what happens. Yes.
If they do merge and these 3 people take their 3 idols and activate and put them together, do they turn into a big statue like Sandra and Rob?
Into, a huge Mighty Morphin Power Ranger.
Is it a Power Ranger situation?
Yeah.
A Mighty Morphin Survivor Ranger?
Rita Repulsa is the new host of Survivor.
Could you imagine? That'd be the best thing ever. Could you imagine her going, "Dig, woman, dig"?
Yeah.
Also,
behind the mask is Boston Rob.
I could see that. He's like, "Dig, woman, dig," and we're like, "I knew it was you. It's getting the best. This mask is getting the best of me."
I'm a potato. Hi, Rory.
Rory.
But I'm glad that Mike activated it because I feel like this was just like a production's worst nightmare. To have Marianne be saying the same phrase every single week.
But I also I like the way Mike was thinking about it, but it was definitely the smartest move for him to activate that idol.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, totally.
First of all, you need to have a vote. That is your only social capital. A. Mm-hmm. Dig, Amber, dig.
Sorry.
But B, you want to be able to actually have that idol ahead of time and give yourself the power and the position when you have your tribe before you get to emerge. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, people just see you as expendable before you get there. So you need to be able to tell people I've got this idol. How are we going to use it? The whole tribe already knows. So why not just use that as an advantage to carve yourself a piece of power that people are going to want a part of to keep you around?
There's 2 things I like about this whole twist and this whole concept. The first is kind of what Beth was saying. It brings the idol into conversation, right? It brings it more to the front than being in the back, right? You know where the other ones sit. You know there's strategy that's involved in getting it activated. But the second part I love about this is something that's been well known in Survivor since the immunity idol. I saw almost an American flag. I don't know why. Since the immunity idol was introduced, my Wi-Fi sucks tonight. Why?
There we go.
We're good. We're good. We're
good. Well, I don't know why it's never done this. The idol's been introduced is the fear of going home with an idol in your pocket, but now it's the fear of going home without your idol being activated, right? It brings this whole fear that's always happened to a completely different level.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Andrew. Your name is cutting off the T in your shirt, and all I can see is horror.
That's Andrew. If it's one word, I can use Andrew.
Also, side note, Andrew, whenever you move away from the mic, it does sound like you're talking to us from across the room.
Talking to the mic.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. That got ASMR like.
Excuse me.
I don't want to know.
We're getting ready for regionals, so I've been playing with voices and characterizations all week. So
I like it. I support. Also, we have another question about the amulet from the premiere that I totally forgot about as well. So thank you, Aaron Robertson, for
good
reminding
questions
us
from Aaron
of that.
tonight.
Yeah. So he says, how do we think the amulet will play out between Hai, Drea, and Lindsay come the merge? I feel like it's gonna be a non-factor at first.
I don't.
I think I actually think the opposite. I think
do.
that. Well, so here's the thing. Like, Drea's got everything going on for her right now, except for a lot of numbers. Hai has a lot going for him. He's in a power position in the game. He's got enough people who will probably be loyal to him. I could see him being savvy enough to say, I need to get these two out of here. And then I think that, and who has it on orange?
Lindsay.
And I think that Lindsay has numbers. And I kind of, I feel like Drea will be more likely to try to team up with other people because the blue tribe is such a disaster. But those that feel secure in their numbers are going to target the other two because then it only allows their amulet to get stronger. So do Lindsay and Hai feel strong enough with the numbers that they've got, knowing that their tribes are a little closer in terms of trust, that they would go after each other, and maybe Drea tries to join those numbers, and then is that how Drea stays, or what? So I think it's going to be interesting. My personal feeling is that Drea would be more likely to jump on one of their two tribes and work with them, but her time would be relatively short-lived.
Go ahead, Andrew.
So I agree and disagree with what Beth is saying. If it was me, and I'm not going to speak for what Drea is going to do or would do, every time I try to talk, it freezes. Every time.
You're not frozen, whore. Go ahead. Now you're frozen.
So what's great
every time I try to start a tangent, every time it freezes.
What's funny, Andrew, is that you freeze on your screen before you do on ours. So you're like, I'm frozen. And we're like, no, you're not. And then as soon as we say, no, you're not, you freeze. It's amazing.
And you keep freezing on whore. So it's even better.
Quickly before I freeze again, if she was smart, she would use the first two advantages to take the other two out to activate a second idol.
Oh, 100%.
Use when it's time to go, use that extra vote, get rid of one of them, idle out the second one. Now you've just got your second idol. So you use what you already have to make that one stronger. Is how I would.
You have to have numbers in order to do that. Where's her numbers?
Not always. I mean, like with the idol, you don't necessarily have to. With the extra vote, you would for sure.
Right.
But
you have to make sure that, like, what you're basically doing then is sacrificing your one idol in the hopes that you can get a minority vote on somebody.
And unless you're going and you have to use it anyway.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Remind me, it was extra vote. What was the second level?
I can't remember, to be honest.
No idea. But okay, so I kind of have a different way of thinking about this. I feel like all three of them going into the merge feel like we have this like secret marriage of convenience, right? And it is convenience because like they've spent no time together. They don't really know each other outside of rubbing blood on their chest like 20 some days ago. You know what I mean? Like there's no
nobody has called out the fact that none of them had cuts or scrapes. So why was there that much blood on them is still to this point something I would be like actively.
Right.
I would have Jai's face when he was like, "Where are the votes?" And Jeff was like weirdly aggressive. "We're gonna get to it, Hai." And like then they never got to it. Like anyway,
Jeff
I was just
it's a steal vote. Yeah, I
over
just
the place.
looked that up too. First level's an extra, second level's a steal.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I feel like you know it's this marriage of convenience. Like we have this thing that we can go to if we're like I feel like it's gonna turn into a situation where like we're gonna keep the other two people's names like out of people's mouths like around camp, at least for the merge, like until we figure out like where the dust settles with everything. Because like if you don't do at least that, right? If you don't do at least that, then you can like rat out the advantage to everybody else and make them a target for that reason. You know what I mean? And it would also be in your best interest to do so, because then your power increases too. So it's almost like the three of them are kind of like checkmating each other,
Right.
if that makes any sense. So I like, and that's what is bumming me out about some of these twists is like the everybody knowing where the idols are is another example of this. Like they Survivor producers are like looking for this balance and twist, but I feel like it can really like stalemate potential gameplay if like everybody knows where like the hidden pieces are. Rory brought up a good point in the chat. It's called a hidden immunity idol, and it's not so much hidden these days in modern Survivor, and that's an issue. And this advantage, this amulet, is hidden between the three of them, but when there's so much incentive to get them out, you know, it's
Really interesting to go back and listen to Jeff Probst. Does he say if anybody has an immunity idol? Because I don't think he's been saying hidden recently. I think he's just been saying if anybody has an immunity idol, I'd like to play it.
I'm just living for Rory's comment. If anybody has a public service announcement necklace, now would be the time to use what everybody knows you got. Jeff,
literally, yeah.
Probst 2020.
What we're forgetting about the amulet, though, is you touch on it a little, Tyler, but there was blood, sweat, and tears poured into those amulets. I mean, he was covered in the blood of the sacrificial lamb.
That's what I'm saying. And yet nobody, like Lydia was like, you're bleeding a lot. And then
like a lot.
Managed to see that like there wasn't any actual cuts or injuries. Like the way that would be so shady.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Have you ever men nick their faces shaving, or a woman nicks her legs shaving? That shit bleeds like, and it could break down the Hoover Dam. Okay,
Yeah.
It freaking gushes. I mean, it doesn't stop. So it could have been a nick that got out of control, right?
Yeah, it could have been.
I would have been like, listen, I was digging and I cut my vagina. I'm sorry. I'm not going to show you what happened down there.
I don't think Hai can use that excuse, but
well, you know.
Speaking of Hai, I have to say, you guys, hi, first of all. Not really a fan of him this season. Not a fan. Hai just feels very gossipy to me. Hai feels like he has this like rain cloud over his head where like the reason that he's bonding with people is by like talking shit about somebody that's not there. Or like his bond is all based on like negativity and like mudslinging other people. And also like his poker face is really, really terrible. Like he flips from like calm to like stressed and like doubting you and showing that doubt on his face like so quickly. So I just want to throw it out there, just not really rooting for him at this point in the game.
Daniel, where he was only speaking straight up facts about Daniel. When was he also being rude about somebody?
I don't want to say rude in terms of like let's cancel him on Twitter or anything like that. It just has like a negative like tone to it, and I don't know if it's because like the season is filled with such like positive characters that like it's just like a weird contrast that I'm picking up on. I wish you would just be a little more
from him at all, to be perfectly honest with you. What I get is somebody who was wronged in the game and has a really good read on what's going on now that he's had to be put in a position where he was wronged.
My question, are you confusing Hai with Romeo? Because I feel like you described Romeo more than you described Hai.
I think Romeo's just boring casting.
The guys are more bitchy and catty than the women this year, and I love it.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just keeping an eye on Hai. I know I'm in the minority on this, and like a lot of people are really pun and very much intended, very high on his game this season. But I don't know. I'm just.
I will.
I'm like, you have to highlight this comment that says Jeff's more like a Nickelback guy, and I'm like, wait, that was Beth.
No, that was me.
But it also posted again on my Twitch channel because Allison put it for both.
Yeah, they were talking about him doing My Chemical Romance at karaoke night with his new look, and I'm like, no, he's more of a Nickelback
Look at this photograph.
Look
So,
at the
real quick, I have
photograph.
to tell one of my favorite jokes of all time because we said this, and it's not really a joke; it's a real life scenario. When I was younger, in high school, I had a friend. She was a good friend of mine, and her last name was Nichols, and her parents were horrible people that named her Penny. So she was Penny Nichols, and we called her Loose Change.
Oh my
Oh, damn. Okay.
I had a
I
teacher
get-
whose name was Anita Carr.
Should have been a car salesman.
Married it into that though. So her last name was her married last name with Carr.
No, this one, her parents just like what I didn't really mean her parents were horrible people. I'm like, but like you know what you're doing
Oh, yeah.
when you name your child Penny and your last name is Nichols because that wasn't her married name.
Loose change.
Called her Loose Change as well.
You know, maybe he's going for more of the Creed look. Maybe Jeff's more of I'm listening to Creed. I'm already, yep, Creed. He's a more of a Scott Stamp kind of guy.
Welcome to this day.
He is in a competition. He's in a competition with Will Kirby to see what reality star can look the most like plastic.
Yeah,
Aw.
that is true. That is very true.
Yeah, maybe he'll get a walk on The Mandalorian or something.
Do
Like
with what
we'll
we're
go.
talking
Maybe.
about. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but Tyler and I came up with such a juicy idea for a one-off like Patreon episode tonight.
Yes.
And that just kind of reminds me of it, the whole plastic part of it. We would like to do an episode of My Weekly Meltdown where we discuss blind items about reality show contestants, hosts, people, that kind of thing.
I
What's
am so here for that.
What does that mean? A blind item?
So I
Like,
don't know what you said.
A blind item is basically like an unconfirmed but like confirmed just a little piece of like info about a celebrity.
we guess who it is.
And so the reason they're called blind items is because they don't outright say like if it's like a blind item about Justin Bieber, right? Like they would say like foreign born pop male singer with lots of tattoos has a fake PR relationship with his wife or something like that, right?
So why they do that so they don't get taken to court for libel or slander. But
Yes,
the whole
exactly.
point is that these are supposed to be people who are like insiders in their lives who are telling people about hints of things that are like
Oh,
happening, but wouldn't get in trouble by releasing who they are, what their source is, or anything like that. It's so I was saying at dinner tonight, I feel like the person that is going to have so much dirt on them and so many blind items if there aren't already is RuPaul. And I was saying that like, oh my gosh, I feel like RuPaul's Drag Race, when that show ever comes to an end.
I don't know. Todrick Hall is giving RuPaul a run for their money in terms of blind items right now.
They just need blind items. They're just out in the open.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I boasted like what was it like a year or two ago that he bought a house, and then here we are. You haven't paid rent on the house that you rent and not own.
Oh God, so
What
bad.
is with
So
him and not
bad.
paying people?
I don't know, but
Yeah,
I could have told you that before the
right
season
to win,
started.
and that shit, fuck off.
Yeah. I want to update.
I think Kim Kardashian was talking about Todrick. Some people just don't know how to get up and work.
Yeah, get your fucking ass up and work.
you know what? Can we just say something real quick?
Yeah.
New Kardashians on Hulu next week.
Okay, screw all that. No. I'm not on this whole, this is our last season ever. We're hanging it up. We're not doing it anymore.
We made it 3 months without a reality show.
But then it's just like, no, we're just changing the name.
Could you imagine a show where Kris Jenner looks at the camera and goes, "It's getting the best of me."
I could imagine that, which is the sad part.
That's going to be the name of her book. Her book about her life. It's getting the best of me.
Getting the best of me. The best ever sketch was when they did on SNL. They did "If You Loved the Kim and like Chris Humphries or whatever marriage special, you're gonna love Kim Gets a Divorce special." And it's so good. Kristen Wiig plays Kris Jenner.
I love Kristen Wiig.
And she's like, they're like 3 sisters. She's like 4 sisters, and like tries to get in with like the other girls. It's so good. Go back and watch it, y'all.
Speaking of blind items, I'm like fully convinced that Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson are a PR relationship.
100%.
Like, don't
You know
believe
what I
that they're
want?
truly a thing.
I don't know. I kind of believe it's
I believe
real. And I want, and I'm just throwing it out there in the world, I want the Kardashians to dress me. I want Kim Kardashian to put me in an outfit and do my makeup, put me in one of her long wigs. I want her to just like glam me up.
Why?
I'm just thinking of like a Brett's like a kid's website.
I would look like a
where you,
Bratz doll.
No, like you go into like the virtual
Yes,
closet.
because they do.
Yeah,
I just want to
exactly.
do it one time. I more want them to just do my makeup and put me in an outfit. I want to see what I would look like glammed up.
If they ever do it, Allison, you have to balance a champagne glass on your butt and pour it at the same time.
I will do my best to make that happen.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's update our draft.
Yeah.
So, sadly, you know, it had to happen at some point in the season, but I lost my very
Finally.
first my first of 6 picks here. So that's Andrew. Who has the best draft team headed into the merge?
It's not Beth. I'll tell you that.
Honestly, I don't hate your draft, Beth.
Oh, okay.
I think you have 3 decent people on there.
I have 3 juicy targets on there, but I think they'll do well at least for a couple.
I don't think John's gonna
Yeah,
go anywhere
that's
at
true.
first. I don't think he's gonna be his first boot. But because my dark horse, my favorite player, and the best personality are on Tyler's team, I'll have to go Team Tyler.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
I think Tyler does too.
Pains me to say that.
And then here is our patron draft. So Roxroy and Daniel were not picked for the draft just for like even numbers sake. So no changes from last week to this week. But who do you think out of the patrons has the best draft team headed into the merge?
Again, it pains me to say this, but Rory.
Okay.
I think
All
he
right.
has 3 different archetype. 3 different. Hold on, I went the wrong way. 3 different types. You've got this out loud kind of person. You have the social threat or the strategic threat, which I would give to Lydia, and then you have the challenge beast. So I feel like he has so many different areas covered in that. So that's why I kind of go to Rory on that specific one. If I had to go to a second place, it would probably actually still be Liza, even though she's missing 2.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, you should have given one of the... I think you should have replaced Jackson for Liza with one of the 2 you didn't use.
Yeah, we did that for BB Can, so I don't know what I was thinking when I decided not to do that. So
Which,
here we are.
How is BB Cam?
BB Can 10 is really confusing to cover, but an amazing season.
Oh, and we have an announcement about our show this week.
Yes, I am headed down to Baltimore for a shoot, so I won't be back until like late Friday night. So we're actually covering this like week of BB Can. Allison and I will be covering on Saturday. I think around like 5 p.m. or so. So, which is good because like last week we didn't have an HOH to talk scenarios and stuff. So we'll have a good idea of like the week and stuff like that by Saturday. So lots of good stuff.
I haven't watched one episode, so
it's very, very good. I would highly recommend
Exactly
it.
1 episode, Andrew.
Allison said she said she's really enjoying the season. She said it's
Yeah, and I actually mean it when I say it.
Yeah, she was like, "This is my first time in a while that I've enjoyed Big Brother." So take that for what it's worth.
Andrew's frozen and he looks so sketched out. Okay, he's not frozen anymore.
He looks super
Andrew,
creepy just now.
Still over
this is what you look like.
It was like, oh, and I have an
Andrew, you're
announcement.
perfect. Never change.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yes.
Somebody's 5 months old. I'm not naming
Hold on.
names,
Aww.
but
I
my
get it. It froze again with you all frozen as what I was frozen previously.
Listen, my grandson's 5 months old. I'm just throwing it out there. Big blue eyes, the sweetest baby on the planet. Just know, right here.
Is Beth frozen?
No.
That was very impressive.
Really good at
that
that,
whole.
though.
Thank you.
Yes, happy 5 months to Clown. It's a little cutie
Clown?
pie. Cloud.
I thought you said clown.
Well, listen, it wouldn't surprise me because his hair flips up over his ears and he's a little ginger baby. So we keep calling him Pennywise.
So cute.
Horrified.
Andrew, to close out the show, I want your official winner pick from the remaining castaways here. Who's taking it home?
I'm gonna go Lydia.
Okay.
Mm.
Alrighty.
I have this feeling. I like the shift she's having. She's shifting at the right time.
We'll
I
see.
don't know.
We'll
I
see.
keep forgetting she's there.
I'm still on the Marianne train.
But we also forgot that Erica was there until halfway through the season.
True. So does that mean we're headed toward the Lindsay victory?
Drea.
Drea's a good pick.
I just decided to go for her. I don't know. I don't feel super confident. Ugh.
This is probably one of the hardest seasons to predict for me, though.
Yeah,
All right,
which
my
is
girls are
which is
really-
a good thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I kind of felt that. Ugh.
Oh, man. I got home and
Um,
took my bra right off. For those that didn't see my tweet, I had 4.5 hours of getting mammogram after mammogram after mammogram, and then an ultrasound today. The girls are tired, but at least nothing was cancerous. Yay!
Yay. Thank
Right, that's
God. Get your
Um,
mammograms, ladies. Seriously. It ain't no
Yes.
joke.
And I also just want to send love from the My Weekly Meltdown family to Matt. I know his family is going through some health issues right now, but I just wanted to send all of our love from the family at My Weekly Meltdown to you. We love you, Matt. We're here for you if you need us or anything, and we're thinking about you. So
I also would like to make a quick heart and felt goes out. I play a lot of online reality games. I have since I was 18, and there was a very young person. We don't know the specifics, but he's been in the community. I've known him for 8+ years that passed away. So Corey Browning, my heart and family goes out to him. But he was a online reality gamer that I've known for forever. He's done meetups, and I saw that came across. We don't know the specifics, but everybody that's dealing with that definitely in my thoughts and prayers.
yeah, yep. Alrighty. Well, I wish I had a way to transition to
Happy news.
something happier to say, but yeah, I'm excited for the merge next week. Can't wait to see how that all shakes out, and also very excited to talk BB Can 10 with Allison on Saturday. So lots of good stuff coming down the pipeline. Oh, and Andrew, did you see the trailer for the Real World New Orleans Homecoming?
No, but I will say I'm also with all the little
Very
teasers and
good.
dramas I'm seeing. I'm excited for this Challenge BB Survivor CBS coming up. I'm seeing some juicy drama come from this.
Yeah,
And
apparently
we don't
Xavier,
even have a trailer yet or
you
anything.
don't. It's
You
still
know, and
filming
it's-
right
It's
now.
still filming. We don't have a winner.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I think there's some fallout from the BB23 crew. I know that Xavier unfollowed Alyssa and Derek X, so we don't know what that's about, but can't wait to see it all shake out.
Oh,
But
can I say something real quick? Yes. Julie is a hot mess.
I'm
in
very
the
excited
New
for that.
Orleans reunion.
I'm going to watch the trailer as soon as we get done.
Listen,
good.
she
She looks good,
she
though.
was one of those Mormons
When's the premiere?
that
April 20th.
she was one of those Mormons that doesn't drink or do anything. And flash forward 23 years later, she's the village drunk flying out of the van face first.
Midlife
I want to
crisis.
know how we got from A to B. Okay.
When's
I
the
can tell-
premiere?
April
420.
April
So,
20th. Smoke them if you got them. Eat them if you got them.
Yep, there you go. All right, well, yeah, so we'll be definitely covering that too. But yeah, I think that's it. So everybody have a great rest of your night. We'll see you on Saturday and the next week to talk about the 2-hour merge of Survivor 42.
If it even is a merge.
If it is a merge, but I feel like it's going to be a merge.
It's not a merge. It's more Jeff shenanigans. He's got Creed playing in the back of his head, and he thinks he's being something special. Yeah, no.
All right. Okay, well, everybody have a good, great rest of your night. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.